Hello and welcome back to another episode of Generation Ochi. My name is American Ben, and today we are going to break down how to survive the onslaught of demons and the giant evil serpent in the 2020 film The Yin-Yang Master, Dream of Eternity. Spoiler alert. And this film isn't to be confused with the 2021 film The Yin-Yang Master, which seems very similar. I'm still confused about the difference between the two, actually. If you haven't yet heard of the Yin-Yang Master Dream of Eternity, though I'm sure it's harassing many of your Netflix feeds, it's set in ancient China and follows a group of special sorcerer warriors known as Yin-Yang Masters, who are tasked with protecting China from demons. When one such demon, perhaps the greatest one of all time, an evil serpent born of the desires of man, threatens to return and wreak havoc on the imperial city, the masters have to show up and try to save the day with the help of 4 stone guardians, which can be awakened via demon spirit energy. The plot involves all sorts of dramatic twists and turns and political intrigue which implicates important figures in the imperial city, including the princess herself. The film is aight. It's a little cheesy and clunky and clumsy, but aesthetically it's absolutely beautiful. And more importantly for us right now, it has a strong underlying message that it tries to convey, a message which is related directly to surviving the evil serpent. Now you know the deal. If you want to hear how throwing out some stylish wuxia-esque moves and using sharp objects can help you take down this beast, well, then this video might not be for you. As always, we need to look a bit deeper to truly understand what the movie is trying to tell us vis-a-vis overcoming my man Johnny Snakes right here. Now, there's a lot going on in the Yin-Yang Master's version of the Imperial City. For one thing, there's a lot of bugs, because this genius, Long Ye, one of the Yin-Yang Masters, spreads them everywhere to ward off demons at night. I'll take the demons, thanks. Sorry, getting off track here. Demons are everywhere in the Imperial City, and Yin-Yang Master Bo Ya hates them as much as I hate bugs. But demons are not just one-dimensional, unequivocally evil characters, which we first discover when Bo Ya tries to take down a demon who stole a stringed instrument known as a pipa from the palace.
我心爱的女子，生前就是宫中弹奏玄响的乐师。
Demons are not explained in depth, but we can infer that they were once humans who either died or transmogrified into powerful beings as a result of having unfulfilled desires in life. While Bo Ya can't stand them, Master Qingming feels for them and prevents Bo Ya from killing them numerous times throughout the film.
他并无恶意，只是借玄香一解相思之情。
Qingming actually has a habit of employing demons as his spirit guardians, which are basically powerful spirits who are bonded to Yin-Yang Masters for life and appear on call to help them battle foes. On a surface level, Bo Ya and Qingming's relationship in regards to demons speaks to the lack of understanding and empathy that people often have for those suffering souls in society who perhaps resort to illicit activities or actions of questionable virtue for the sake of satisfaction or survival even. And I make no commentary here one way or the other because law and punishment is not our focus right now. Instead, we need to focus on the whole human versus demon dynamic.
你为何对妖如此痛恨？妖以人为食，而人却以机鱼为食。
There is the challenge the film presents of discerning the differences between humans and demons. Are they just criminals? Is that it? Or is there something more sinister in play deep within the confines of their souls? Bo Ya hates demons because, as we find out later, his mother was killed by a demon, specifically a fox demon. On the other hand, Qingming has deep empathy for them because his mother was rumored to be a fox demon, which led to his family being constantly harassed by people in their village. So both humans and demons and bugs do bad things. We could also just note something simple here. People's experiences lead them to shape their outlooks on the world and the other people in it in ways that reflect said experiences. But what's really in play here is desire. Desire fuels us all. Bo Ya desires to get revenge on demons, and Qingming desires to protect them because he feels their pain, and also maybe because he's possibly related to one. It seems to me that demons are specifically desirous creatures, who, as I began to explain before, have unfulfilled desires, intense longings gone long unanswered, and which eventually fall them into the pits of despair. We see this with the hair demon.
我的负心人原是宫中画师。 但他痴迷上了一个女子。
The hair demon tries to kill the princess because, well, the princess is the empress, and the hair demon's object of affection in life was himself in love with her majesty. The man she loved killed her at the princess's command, and thus the hair demon became consumed by her desire for revenge, and I suppose turned into a sort of monster. But humans play a role here too in encouraging the hair demon's murderous ways.
随时可能揭破祸蛇的秘密，所以贺守月操纵法药，将其杀死。
They, well, specifically Shou Yue, the imperial priest who's really the late Master Zhongxing's terminally ill spirit guardian, manipulates the hair demon into killing people by using her desires against her. Intensely desirous beings are oft vulnerable to emotional manipulation because they are desperate and are rarely thinking straight. And even more broadly, powerful people, leaders specifically, often play on the desires of their citizenry in order to advance their agendas.
法药不厉害，厉害的是背后操纵法药的人。
If you've seen the film, then you know that Shou Yue's goal is to eliminate the Yin-Yang Masters, so that he and his secret lover, the princess, who is really the immortal empress, can raise the evil serpent in time to prevent Shou Yue from perishing, as spirit guardians die soon after their masters do. And so Shou Yue and the empress's shared desire to save him lead them to do evil just as demons do. They are willing to kill anyone in order to achieve their goals. Thus, the idea emerges here that the imperial city is poisoned from the top down. After Yin-Yang Master Hong Ro is murdered in his sleep, the remaining masters gather in the palace courtyard to consider possible guilty parties. Long Ye's tracking tadpoles, which can sense hidden demons, are employed to identify the killer, and they swim in the princess's direction. I think the masters recognize at this point that the princess has blood on her hands, but they can't say so out loud because she's the princess. No one is willing to actually accuse her out loud because such would be a sort of blasphemy. Thus, she's allowed to continue to poison the kingdom with her nefarious plans. At one point, she becomes infected by a worm demon, which Qingming then needs to suck out and ingest himself. And the symbolism of a parasite spreading from the Empress to the people is not lost on me. However, what's more important here is how this worm works.
这虫子名为禅念，以人的欲念为食，所以厉害的不是这虫子，而是公主的执念。
Alone, the worm isn't dangerous, but because the Empress's desires are so strong, because they amount to obsession, it becomes infinitely powerful. Demon spirits feed on the people's desires and grow by them. But let's rephrase this statement into a succinct summation of the film's world. Demons are created by desires, and when such desires become obsessive, these demons grow more powerful and spread throughout the kingdom, eating away at its foundations. Enter the Evil Serpent.
祸蛇是从天地初开之时，就已诞生的至邪之物。
As Master Zhongxing explains to Qingming here, the Evil Serpent is the most powerful of all demon spirits. It's immortal, and as long as there is desire in the world, it cannot be extinguished. Now, that proposition kind of offers us a bleak outlook moving forward because presumably there will always be desire burning in the world. So if this were a typical survival video, this is where I could just say that to defeat this giant snake, all you have to do is kill the person controlling it. So go ahead then, throw a blade or shoot a projectile into the chest of Shou Yue. That is what the masters do after all. Bring bows and arrows to this fight, surround the snake on all sides, and have everyone attack at once in the hopes of exposing the controller for a kill shot. However, even if you do this, you will not have killed the snake. Why? Because it's immortal. This big giant thing is not the Evil Serpent. It is very important when watching this movie to understand that when the characters are speaking about the Evil Serpent, they are talking about a metaphorical creature. The big snake is just the serpent's shadow, and its true form is contained within a human vessel, in this case, first the Empress and then Shou Yue. It is said in the film that the Yin-Yang Masters return to the Imperial City to slay the snake whenever it resurfaces. I take this to mean that they come to the Imperial City when it is overrun by greed and reinfuse it with virtue by attempting to stifle unrestrained desire. And think of the symbol of a serpent. It is the ultimate greed of the rulers of the state that unleashes a snake, an insidious, deadly creature which begets destruction upon the Imperial City.
你为何要放出祸蛇？
我需要它永生的力量。
The snake, now free, slithers amok, growing stronger and bigger as it feeds upon the desires of the people. The Empress originally thinks that she has done something good for the kingdom by containing the serpent within her so it can no longer feed on others' desires and leave the Imperial City victim to its bite.
我用肉体把祸蛇与这个世界隔离，祸蛇无法吞噬这世间芸芸众生的七情六欲。
However, what she fails to understand is that desire has unlimited potential to grow, and so it, along with the serpent, is immortal. It doesn't die. It only changes form and moves from one body to the next. The Empress, in effect, fosters all of the desire within her that would have been shared among the people had this snake not been contained inside of her. And as ruler of the land, this powerful desire in her yet becomes the bane of the people when it is set free. So then, American Ben, how do we beat the serpent inside? Well, there's a few steps. The first is that people must be willing to make sacrifices for the sake of the kingdom. The spirit guardians and the Yin-Yang Masters throw themselves in harm's way for the sake of others numerous times throughout the movie. The very spirit guardian Yin-Yang Master dynamic itself is based on sacrifice, because the aspirant guardian must give up his freedom to become bonded with the Yin-Yang Master. Sacrifice helps to overcome the evil serpent because it is the opposite of being greedy. Greed sinks the state. The second step then is to control one's desires, though mind you, not to get rid of them completely. There is a tragedy to the story of the Empress because her desires aren't born of an evil nature. They're born of love, and her desire to save her love brings hurt upon the masses. Such is the dark nature of reality at times. The Empress loves Master Zhongxing, but he leaves her in the Imperial City and dies fighting the Evil Serpent. And by that I mean that he dies fighting his desires.
动手吧，青明。趁祸蛇还没有完全吞噬我。
He has Qingming finish him off because he is in love with the Empress, and he doesn't want to be consumed by his desires because becoming obsessed is poisonous for the kingdom at large. However, the Empress does not limit her desire. She lets it flourish, and for it becomes obsessed. She becomes obsessed to the point that she projects her love onto but an illusion of Zhongxing in the form of the spirit guardian Shouyue, who changes his appearance to match that of Zhongxing to play to the Empress's desires. Again, it's important to note that the film never attempts to say that desire should be eliminated completely. On the contrary, desire empowers both good and bad forces.
这世间可还有你想要舍命守护之人？
我娘。
那就想着他。
The most fundamental skill of a Yin-Yang Master, the protection spell, is powered by desire, the desire to protect loved ones. In this way, Yin-Yang Masters would cease to be without desire because their purpose is to protect. And if they don't desire to protect anyone or anything, then they have no purpose for being. It is, after all, the very energy of demons that's used to wake the Special Stone Guardians. The same force that powers demons powers Yin-Yang Masters. It's called desire. Additionally, the film doesn't really prescribe leaving desires unfulfilled. The hair demon dies happily after thinking she has killed the Empress. She certainly does not learn any lesson about the danger of obliging her desires. Defeating the serpent is simply not done by eliminating desire, because desire and the serpent are immortal, both one and the same. Instead, the serpent must simply be contained.
也许人和妖魔都有欲望，也皆有善恶。
Balance. That's the answer. Desire cannot turn to absolute obsession, and nor should it be completely neglected. One must be a careful steward of their own emotions, all types of which they will inevitably have. And the true master allows himself to accept reality for what it is.
悲欢离合，生老病死，这电光幻梦般的人世，你终要一一经历。
The whims of life are difficult, and one must bear pain through it, sometimes unspeakable pain. The question is, will you allow such pain to overrun your mind and consume you? What one must do to overcome this, and really our third and final step to surviving the evil serpent, is detach oneself from the idea of permanence. Of anything really, but specifically things within material reality.
你还有留恋吗？
人生在世，空手而来，空手而去。
Master Zhongxing does love the Empress very much, but he's able to recognize the impermanence and actually rather fleeting nature of life. But this doesn't make him despair. On the contrary, he realizes that life's brevity gives him power. See, thoughts of death make most people feel a heightened sense of importance about their lives, but the truth should probably be the opposite. Because all will end in nothingness, or somewhere beyond this realm, our material lives and the pain that takes place during them is not so important. And grasping this allows Zhongxin to leave the world unattached, in love, but not in pain, because soon the silly woes of material life won't matter one way or another.
这世界连你都走了，我还能留下什么？
The Empress doesn't quite reach this same state of enlightenment. She cannot detach herself from the heaviness of life. She even remarks on the unbearable pain endemic to it.
做人太苦了，来世我想要做一轮月。
Hers is a story of folly, of being completely beholden to one's emotions and lost to the material realm and all of its illusions of grandeur. That said, Zhongxin expresses some contradictory notes himself. On one hand, he is enlightened about the impermanence of all things, and yet he is quick to check out of life because he himself is afraid of where his desires are headed. Perhaps we should say then that humans are always imperfect, and even when we have nailed down a coherent personal philosophy, to some degree desires, attachments, and pain still persist. However, while I appreciate his sacrifice for the sake of the good of all, he did help to stifle the serpent by perishing along with his desires. If he truly was detached from the importance of material life, then he would attempt to live it out and would simply not let his desire win control over him. Anyways, that's our breakdown of how to survive the Evil Serpent and other demons in the Yin-Yang Master Dream of Eternity. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do give it a big thumbs up. Comment down below, let me know what you thought of the video and the movie. Subscribe to this channel. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss a damn thing. For now, my name is American Ben, Generation Ochi. Peace.